Hey everyone, welcome back to our SwiftUI series. Today we're diving into location services and MapKit. We're going to create a simple app that accesses the user's location, displays it on a map, and even lets you drop pins for specific places. Well, let's go ahead and dive on in. I'm just creating a app template here, but if you want to add this to your existing project, feel free to do so on my MapKit SwiftUI example. I'll make sure I'm in SwiftUI and we can get started here. Alrighty, first things first is we actually need to request permissions from the user. If you remember, if you watched my camera tutorial, remember I forgot to do that to the very end. Let's go ahead and do that at the very start. So we need to access our info.plist. On SwiftUI, it's a little weird how you can kind of access it and have it show up. The way I like to do it is click on my project here. So in this case, my project name kind of has that little app logo there, and go to the info tab. And under URL types, just go ahead and open that tab up and press add items. And it's going to add that info.plist. It's already been there. It's just kind of hiding. It's not available for us to see. Next, we need to get the permission from the users. So we're going to press the plus button here. And we're going to scroll down until we see privacy. And this is where we can handle, asking users permission for certain things. You can see like Bluetooth, calendars, camera, right? Base ID, things like that. So let's go ahead and ensure that we can access their location. I'm going to say location when in usage description, and under the value it's going to be a string, and you can explain to the user why you need to use the location. So I'm just going to say we need your location to show it on the map in our app. Perfect. And we can also do the location always and when in use description. So I'm just going to add another one here. Privacy. I find the kind of search feature here isn't the most user friendly. So I'm just going to, so always and when in use. There we go. And we need your location advanced features. Right. If you have a specific reason, this is your chance to tell the user why. This top one for the advanced features, that's kind of more as needed. Adding these keys ensures that the app requests location permissions from the users. Without them, the location features won't work. That's something that Apple set up. You needed to have that consent from the user before you can track their location. Well, not track it, but use it in the app. We're not stalking anybody here. All right, so let's go back to our content view now that we have our permission added. And under our import SwiftUI, we're going to import a couple things. First off is CoreLocation. So this is going to allow us to work with coordinates and use that location similar to CoreMotion. It kind of allows us to access that phone's location in the world. And we're going to go ahead and import MapKit. So CoreLocation accesses the location, MapKit displays it on a map. So we're going to need to create a new class. So at the very top of our Swift file, I'm going to say class, location manager. And this is going to be an NS object. And it's also going to be a observable object, as well as CL location manager delegate. All right, it's going to be like, hey, it might not be available in this context. Don't worry, it'll totally be fine. All right, let's go ahead and add our brace here, and we'll create a private let. And we're going to call this location manager equals CL location manager. This is going to be the core location manager instance. We're then going to create a published, so capital P, published variable for the region. And this is going to be for MapKit now. So we're going to use MK coordinate region. Okay, this is going to create a coordinate region. So I have my bracket here. We're going to be putting a lot of information in here. So I'm just actually going to push this to another line. Oh, sorry, if you're getting the error that I put a dot instead of a comma. I was like wondering why that wasn't working. So NS object, comma, observable object, comma, CL location manager delegate. Okay, thank you Xcode for pointing out that that error. Okay, anyways, we're going to create a center. So I'm going to say center, and we're going to reference a CL, location coordinate 2D, and we're actually going to go ahead and steal the latitude and longitude. So this is going to create a location coordination object with the specified latitude and longitude values. All right, how do we find these values? Well, we can put some random numbers in if we wanted, but we can actually use Apple Maps for this. All right, so I have Apple Maps open and I'm just hovering over Vancouver right now. What a cool place to be. And you can either grab coordinates by dropping a pin on the map, or if there's a specific spot you'd like to go. So let's say this Pacific Spirit Regional Park. You can click on the 3 dots here and you can copy the coordinates. Right? The other way is to drop a pin and you should see that there's some coordinates here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy these. Command C. So we're going to go take this CL location here. We're going to pop in that number, and then for our longitude, and then we'll come back here. We'll grab that. Perfecto. All right, and let's go and add a span. So span colon MK coordinate spam, and we can have a latitude delta and a longitude delta. So I'm going to set these to be 0.05 and 0.05 here. So what these are going to do is they're basically going to show the amount of either north to south or east to west distance measured in degrees. So the number of kilometers spanned by a longitude range varies. We do have an error. We just do have to put a comma after the center to go to the next value of span. All right, let's go ahead and exit this kind of MK coordinate region we have here. We'll create a override initializer. We're not going to use the autofill here just to save a little bit of a headache. I think we'll be deleting more than we would be adding. We're going to type super.init. And then we're going to have our location manager .delegate. We're going to have a location manager once again .request when in use authorization. That's going to request location permission. And then we're going to have once again location manager .start updating location, and this is going to fetch location updates. Alrighty, that looks pretty cool. So our location manager class uses the CoreLocation to fetch the updates on the user's position, and it's going to publish the location as a region to be used in SwiftUI's map view. Let's hop on into our content view here. Go and under our structure here, we're going to have a state object. Create a private variable here. Call it location manager. We'll have this equals our location manager class that we've created up here. So if you called it something different, make sure you're referring to it there. And this is going to be the state object. You can see that we have the allow permission already popping up on our thing here. The state object for location. So it's kind of funny on the preview where it's like we have to actually grant it permission, but we can see that that string that we added in our info.plist does appear here. We need your location to show it on the map in our app. We can give permission or not give permission. You'll need to also create an instance to kind of handle when the user says no. For our purposes here today, we're going to go ahead and agree on that. All right, in our VStack, let's go ahead and get rid of our image globe and let's show the real world. We're going to create a map by using the map keyword. We're then going to have, there's a lot of different fill in the blanks here, so I'm just going to start from scratch. Coordinate, region, colon, and we're going to reference that binding, location manager dot region. So we had created that region instance. Where was that? Right here, the published variable region. So on line 14 for me. And that's going to be that park that I've randomly selected in Vancouver. If you wanted to put it to like, I don't know, Montreal or something, right? It'll reflect that. One thing, you can drag and interact on this map. If you want to pinch, you can use the option key, and you'll see that now we have these kind of little circles here. We can use that to kind of zoom out. So I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. Alrighty, we're not quite done with this yet. So we have our region and we can do show user location, and you can set this to be true or false. If you're using a real device, this will show the map as well as that little user's location. And we can also set a frame for this because it's kind of taking up our whole screen. So let's set a frame here and we'll have the height be 400. Okay, there we go. That looks a little bit better. You can totally choose how you want to use this. All right, let's talk about dropping pins as well as adding any interactivity. So what we can do is we can create a new state private variable for pins, and we can use an MK point annotation, and we can actually have a Z stack that's going to allow us to have a gesture and drop pins. I'm going to go up here. Let's create a state private variable, and we'll call it pins. We're going to colon here, and we're going to add a square bracket for our arrays. We're going to say MK point annotation. So this is a string-based piece of location-specific data that you apply to a specific point on the map. So we're going to be able to use this for our pins. And then we're going to say this equals an empty array. We're going to also take our V stack here. We're going to change it to be a Z stack instead, or Z stack, if some people like to say. So in our map, at the end of our user location, we're going to add a comma. We're going to say annotation items. See, I already have the autofill there. And we're going to set this to be our pins value that we created above. We're then going to add a brace, and we're going to say pin in map pin, and then we're going to use this coordinate autofill here. I'm going to use the second one because we can actually add a tint to what our pins look like. So let's go ahead and have this equal the pin dot coordinate, and the color, let's set this to be purple. I might want to use blue or maybe even red, something that's going to kind of stick out a little bit more. All right, we're going to say dot gesture. We're going to open up our kind of bracket here, and we'll say long press gesture. We'll add a minimum duration. Let's have this be 1.0. If you want to make it longer, you of course can. We're actually going to move this bracket down here so it's a little bit easier to see. We'll say dot on ended. We're going to add a brace here. We're going to say underscore in let new pin equals MK point annotation. And we're going to use the one with the empty brackets here. Then we'll say new pin dot coordinate equals location manager region dot center. Then we'll say pins dot append, so that's going to add it, right? Where we created it as an array. New pin. So it's going to add a new pin at the maps center. Alrighty, here. It's like we're getting an error here because it's not conforming to be identifiable. So a way we can fix this is by creating a extension that's going to allow it to be identifiable. So above our structure, extension, and we're going to say MK point annotation colon identifiable. So that's going to allow it to conform to the identifiable protocol. Say public variable ID, and we're going to create a UUID and add a brace there. And in here, we're going to create a public variable. Let's say ID colon space UUID. Right, so this is a universally unique value to identify types, inferences. Wow, look at this one with the a million int 8s. Oh my god. We're then going to add our brace here, and then we're going to say UUID, and we're going to add empty parameters. All right, that should fix the issue. We should press and hold. And we can see that we've added a little purple pin. Oh my god, that looks so cute. And it's going to add that purple pin to the map. Well, let's go ahead and test on the simulator. The actual best way to test this app is on a real device. So the simulator is quite limited in what you can test But however, if you want to add it to your real iPhone, grant location permissions, and you can watch as the map actually goes to your live location. I actually don't want to dox myself. So to change in the simulator though, you should be able to open up Xcode, and under your debug, you can actually choose where you want it to simulate from. So do we have any Canadian locations? We don't. Okay, maybe I'll do Sydney, Australia. All right. So we can see we have our permissions, allow MapKit SwiftUI example to access your location, allow while using the app, sure. Let's go ahead and actually restart the app really quick now that we've kind of updated our simulated location. Location and Sydney, again, if you want to change that, Xcode, debug, simulate location. I had chosen Sydney, Australia. So this is where our user is. You can kind of zoom in. Cool, yay, I'm in Sydney. Sounds beautiful. I'm gonna press and hold, and I've added that little map pin to the app. It's a little bit laggy on the simulator here, but we can see that we do have that pin that's been added. And you can do whatever you like with that pin. If you're holding like events or something, right, you can create those pins, you can give them that coordinate data. Say you want to be showing someone where all the hair salons are nearby, you can create those pins at those different locations. Here we've just added a pin by pressing and holding on the phone, and it drops on in the center. Of course, with these tutorials, always feel free to expand upon them. So you would, kind of add that coordinate instead of just putting it in the center of the map. You can see too as we zoom out. Oh, it's a little bit awkward to use the pinch sometimes. You can see that our pin is hanging out in Sydney. Cool stuff there. And that's it. We built our location-based app using CoreLocation and MapKit in SwiftUI, from centering the map on that region that we've created to dropping pins. The possibilities are endless. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your feedback, or if you're going to be using this in a cool app and using maps in SwiftUI, let me know what you're working on. Remember, dream big, code bigger, and have a great day.